Hey, I'm Steph, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, marketing, branding, and helping you stand out from the crowd. In just under 2 years, I went from being a home based travel agent with zero clue how to make it work in the digital world to launching an international ranking travel podcast and creating an online course to help travel agents in lead generation. Here's one thing I know for sure: there has never in the history of the world been a better time to create the travel business you've always wanted. All you need is an actionable strategy and someone to show you the way. Picture this: we're going to spend the next hour of our time together at the Swim Up Pool Bar, where over a cocktail, we deep dive into travel related topics, mixed with a little classroom training. This show is dedicated to encouraging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into your travel business. I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. Hit subscribe now and let's get into it. If you're a travel agent wanting to stand out in the digital world but you struggle with consistency, tech isn't your jam and you have no idea where to start, join my free masterclass where I talk about exactly this. Head to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass. You're listening to Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. Hey team, welcome back to another episode on the Unplug in Paradise podcast. I'm Steph, and if you're tuning into this episode, it means that you're ready to, or likely you're ready to consider making an investment in your travel business. This has been something that's been coming up loads over the last few months in conversations that I've been having, especially when it comes to our upcoming Travel Trends Summit happening on the Gold Coast in May. And it's something that I noticed a lot of people in the industry seem to be unsteady on when it comes to exactly what investments they should be spending their hard-earned money on versus what would be a desirable outcome for them as a travel business owner. And one thing to remember is that everything that we chat about in today's episode is going to look completely different to every different business owner, as we all have different goals. We've all got different things that we want for ourselves and our businesses and our life and our dreams and what we envision for our future. So it's all going to look different. But one thing I know for sure, and that is evidently clear, is that we are all now very quickly shifting into a brand new era, which is super exciting. And we are here because we are moving into this era of personal power. And I'm talking like big power moves, being super intentional about our decisions and making worthy investments in ourselves and our businesses that pay off big time. I have so much to share with you on this topic. It's not even funny. But before we dive in, if you're enjoying the podcast and you want to surround yourself with other listeners, head over to our Facebook community and check out our free Unplug in Paradise listener group, where we discuss the episodes. You can share your experiences and you get to mingle with some other cool industry pals as well that also tune into the podcast. So that's the Unplug in Paradise podcast listener community. Search for us on Facebook and we'll see you in there. But in regards to the episode, let's get into it. Okay, so we're almost a quarter of the way through a brand new year, which means that our big dreams for the year are still fresh enough to feel like reality and that they are actually like super achievable. But if you haven't actively seeked out a solution already to get the thing done or to do the thing or make the thing happen, what you might be starting to feel and experience is start to get a little bit blurry-eyed and, start to slip back into doing old habits and doing things that you're always used to do. So, whatever works just to get the job done, right? So whatever that looks like for you, this usually happens when after a while, the eagerness to introduce change and start to do things differently starts to vanish a little bit. And it really, really sucks. Hey, like there's nothing worse than having the best intentions and then going, okay, I can't deliver on that promise to myself. Let's just slip back to doing things that we've always done. All those insightful moments of clarity and vision that you wanted for yourself and your business have almost dissipated into thin air, and there you are back again at square one. But what if I told you that it didn't have to be this way? It didn't have to be this way. All of those moments where you've needed to honor yourself, where you've decided that you're going to do the thing and you haven't done it, there's actually a really easy way to get unstuck, get out of the slump, get motivated, and start charging in the direction of where you want to take your travel business next. If this sounds like you are not alone, because it is all too familiar. So let's talk about the negative effects of skipping out on your deepest desires, not honoring ourselves and our business, because let me tell you, those goals that you've set, that vision board that you created in January, those big dreams that you have while drifting off to sleep, those ones that give you the butterflies every time you think about them, the ones that excite you the most about all of your growth that you want to have in the next few weeks, next few months, next few years, these are no joke, you guys, because they are literally exactly what your soul needs and wants, and they are fueled by your passion, and the best version of you is waiting to express your deepest desires for you to grow as a person and as a professional. I know it sounds a little woo, I know, but honestly, this is the you that isn't so busy and has time to actually think straight with complete clarity, and the focus is 100% you. So imagine what that would feel like. So let's just stop for a second, turn the tables around. You spend hours, weeks, months planning clients' travel so they have every single detail of attention handled, right? Like every detail, every attention to detail handled. They are looked after, they are supported. And sometimes some of you guys are working 24 hours a day. And any variation of what it is on paper for them is 100% handled by you at a moment's notice. So imagine if you were to spin the tables and for a second, you were to dedicate this exact amount of detail, this exact amount of attention, this same level of energy that you expel onto others. If you were to mirror that back onto yourself, how would that look like? How would you grow your business if you were giving yourself the exact amount of attention and energy that you were giving other people? Sounds pretty wild, but here's the thing. The moment we give away our personal power to our clients are the exact moments we no longer prioritize the behind the scenes in the business and for ourselves. Our own personal trips get pushed back along with other things that keep popping up. We have no schedule, and if we do, it's so jam-packed and there is no wriggle room for you to go and have a midday power nap if that's what you need to I know it improves my day. But giving away your personal power is a slippery slope to nothing good. And the worst part is, we are completely conscious and aware when it is happening. Like when we see a car on fire, let's just hope this is not happening in your town or city. But when you see a car on fire on the side of the road, like we can't stop looking at it, right? It's just like the train wreck. We can't stop looking at it, even though it's literally burning to the ground. Because what happens for us is what suffers the most behind the scenes when we're not investing time and attention in ourselves is that our brand vibe suffers. You're no longer aligned with the business that you've built. There are thousands of reasons why this might be the case, but I can almost strike gold in saying that you're not fully invested in what you're doing. And it's a bit of an out there thing, and it's a statement at that, but you start to question your own business directions, right? Like when you're not feeling good, you start questioning everything. You start to worry about your income. You start worrying about not making enough bookings. You start not having enough time to do all the things that you want to do. And this leads to overwhelm. So the biggest thing, and it's a really, really big thing, is that we start to go backwards and we start to lose our confidence. We start losing the trust that we have in ourselves, and we can no longer validate ourselves or any decisions that happen either inside or outside the business. And personally, in my experience, this is the perfect breeding ground for imposter syndrome. That devil on your shoulder that only ever has negative things to say, and those limiting beliefs just keep keeping you from playing big. And honestly, it doesn't get you anywhere. Trust me when I say we've all been there, we've all experienced an element of this. And if you haven't, I would be very concerned because maybe it's happening and you don't even realize, which would be a bigger problem. Let's just hope that's not happening. But when you're in this place of lack, of course, you're going to be counting every single dollar that comes in or out of your business. You're going to be cutting back on all the subscriptions of all the tools that you know that's going to keep your business going. And honestly, the moment you start doing this, your whole demeanor in your business is in the wind down phase. So you don't try harder. You don't, you're coming from a place of lack, as I mentioned, and the value of you starts to be impacted in the process. What you give out, your attention to detail. Trust me, clients and their spidey senses can smell this from a mile away. And sometimes for us travel advisors, it's really hard for us not to attach ourselves to how well we're doing or not doing in business, because everything we do is so intertwined. Honestly, if you're listening to this and you're like, okay, yep, Steph, we know. But yeah, honestly, everything that we do is so intertwined, especially because what we sell are experiences. And we very well know that that is, we are a big, massive part of that experience for our clients. I think it would be a lot different if we were selling houses instead of selling travel, because at least the person would know exactly what it is that they're getting. They're getting a house. Whereas experiences, it is what it is that they make it, and it all starts with us. So I suppose the $1 million question is, how do we fix this? How do we flip it? How do we swap below the line thinking for confidence that grows with us, which will allow us to stoke our own personal power and get to a place where we are no longer second guessing ourselves and feeling like we can't or shouldn't be investing in ourselves? How and when do we start choosing ourselves and making our growth the number one priority? Which reminds me of something I want to share with you. As recently, I found myself having to splash a little bit of cash on my car because every time I drove somewhere, it sounded like I was dragging a tree branch everywhere. And while I was at the mechanics, it turned out to be a brake problem. I whipped out my card, tapped away, and all of a sudden my confidence went through the roof. And, letting go of so much money to get brakes and stuff like that fixed on the car. Everybody does not want to take their mechanics to the car because they know it's just going to be an expensive trip, and it usually is. But after this occasion, I felt so freaking buzzed. Like I now officially belong back on the road. I can officially get from A to B and back again safely, and that my car is going to do everything as it should, and I can make it down to the beach car park and not have a parade of people staring at my car thinking it's going to explode at any moment, because that's kind of what it sounded like. It wasn't great. So for me, what it took for me to get my confidence back and to get my car back on the road, all I had to do was drop a shipload of money on my car. But did I want to spend the money on my car? Hell no. Did it feel good when I drove away knowing that I was safe on the road and that I knew that the car was going to do what it needed to do to keep me and my son safe? Yes, absolutely. Did it mean that I could navigate the underground car park at my local shopping centre without concerned locals giving me the side eye? With that, WTF, written all over their faces, because it's not nice and is definitely an actual look. So you would definitely know what I'm talking about. So whenever I draw the comparison between dropping a ton of money on my business, it's exactly the same. For me, I don't know about you, but dropping a ton of cash gives me such an energy burst. And it's almost like an intense energy rush, right? Like an adrenaline, because ultimately, spending money is a form of energy. And like when we have a shit time, what do? We go and do some like retail therapy, or you go and splash at the day spa, or you go and have a massage or a facial, or you go get your hair done. Like you go and spend money And if you're having a down day and you're at home, you don't want to leave the house, like online shopping, guys, like Amazon. It's all at our fingertips, right? So I know that I haven't always been in a position financially to buy all the things that I want, but the intention to spend and invest in the way that I look, the way that I think, in the way that I do things, how to be a better mum, how to be a better business owner, how to be a better person. It's setting the intention of all the things that I personally want for myself. And energetically, it's compelling me to always do my best because I've invested so much to get here. Financially, yes, but also my attention and my time that I've spent thinking and wishing upon it to happen. And the same when I invest in mentors. It's so I can do what I want to do, but with a higher intention and way more grace. They know better than I do. And for us travel advisors, personal holidays, we book them and they're immediately justified because we already know what the ROI is going to mean for us. That goes for anyone else in the travel game who might be tuning in. And I feel on so many levels that this week's podcast is extremely timely for so many of us in the industry. So it's going to be definitely worthwhile hanging into the episode as I'll be diving into the reasons why investing in yourself is more than just a nuance when running a business. It's a necessity. So we've chatted about what happens to your brand vibe when you feel stuck. You become unmotivated, you're angry at the world, nothing is going right, and the time it takes to do anything in your business feels 10 times as long because you're hitting roadblock after roadblock. Trust me when I say potential people, like potential clients, they can pick up on this energy and it's harder to win them back after they've picked up on it because you don't always get the opportunity to win back their trust and their attention. But what about what we're most passionate about? We know that even the most seasoned travel agents, they succumb and sometimes fall in and out of love of the industry. And you know what? The number one thing that underlies everything that we do is that we still, at the end of the day, whether you're in the industry or you've left the industry or you're planning to come back, the number one thing that underpins everything is our passion for travel. It doesn't leave us. So if you're feeling me on this, you might be feeling like you found yourself asking yourself this exact question, like, how do I get back into doing what I love most? Like, how can I make it fun for me again? How can I make it exciting? How can I show my clients how passionate I am? How can I share my love with my friends and my family and involve them in me reaching my goals? This all starts with backing yourself, and it's easier said than done. It's a very overused rhetoric when it comes to starting and running a small business, right? We honestly know after last week's episode, for episode 68, where we talked about tall poppy syndrome, this hits the nail on the head. But honestly, like, what does that even look like for us? Like, to back oneself and cheer oneself on in all of the awesome things that we do in business. And one thing that we often lack in, that most don't like to admit, is the confidence in themselves to even be able to reach for their truest desires and grow as a person in the first place. And bottom line is, this comes down to nature versus nurture, right? Like, in nature, we are naturally blessed with a magnetic personality. So backing oneself might never be a huge obstacle for some people. Versus nurture, where we might be a little less confident and may need to overcome some major obstacles to learn that despite outside influences and behaviors and things that we've experienced and things that we know to be true, that have given us a reason not to believe that we're worthy, not to believe that we deserve all of the good things in life. Which kind of makes me think back to that, the makeup ad, Maybelline, where she says, maybe she's born with it, maybe it's Maybelline, which to me almost suggests that people are just born beautiful. And if you don't feel beautiful, their products will fix you. If you have any other examples of these, please DM me and let me know. But one way that we can build confidence in areas that we're not 100% sure of is being a dedicated learner. Not sure how to cook? Do a class. Not sure how to, exercise properly? Hire a personal trainer. Need help creating a standout travel brand and build yourself a killer digital influence and be the it girl or boy in your niche? Come to the Travel Trend Summit. But the thing is, though, it's all about deciding what your worth is. Are you worth the time? Are you worth the attention, the energy, and the investment? Because we know that they are hundreds of expos, events, conferences, and training opportunities around in the industry, like industry updates, destination spotlights, products, promotions, incentives. It's full on, right? So we can't possibly be at every single one, even though it might appeal to us. So you've got to take the time to consider and plan, what does this look like for me? Is this the investment for me? Because ultimately you might need to fly here, there. You've got event costs to cover, like tickets, parking, accommodation, Ubers, transport, drinks, food, room service, and all of the things, to do with the event or the training or whatever it is. You've also got stuff going on at home too. Like you've got your family. You got to make sure that you've got enough food for them, that they're not going to starve. You might have children that you need to organise with babysitters or ask family members to step in. Dog or pet sitters. You've got people. You might need people to come and water your garden if you've got a bit of a jungle, unlike me, or you need to facilitate someone to clean your house while you're away. It's all of those little things that you need to organize as well, but also the things in the workplace. So you might have an assistant or a VA. They might need to pick up some extra jobs while you're out of the office. There are loads of things to consider, which makes choosing the right investment even more vital. And there is so much to do. And of course, speaking as a solo mum, these are the exact kind of things that pop into my mind, even when I think about investing in my business. And you need to be able to make sure that you are looked after first, whether it's a famil, a work conference, training in the city. How is this going to support me in the long run? And where else can I access the same information? Can I catch up on it later? Can I organize a meeting with that rep at a closer, at a time that's maybe closer to home, so I'm not spending so much time on the road? Is this paramount to where my business is heading right now? Is this something that can best put me, put into an email or an online training series or a podcast or something that you can tune into later? Because believe me, I absolutely love industry events, the trainings, being able to see everybody, all of the things, the connections, the hugs, and this true spirit behind what it means to be in the travel industry. But sometimes you've got to take care of the things behind the scenes and in the background of your business. And sometimes the reasons why you go to all of these things and the times that you come home and you may be not feeling as fulfilled as you thought you were going to be, or perhaps you've walked away with this, heavy kind of guilt that you've spent time out of the office and you spent a day in a room full of people, you didn't quite get what you wanted out of it, or you're waiting for the big thing to kind of hit you and it just didn't come, and it's disappointing and it's sad. Like, you don't want to go to these things and walk away, because ultimately, like, the thing that I love about events is that they are a catalyst for people to make a decision. And if for whatever reason that you aren't inspired to take action or to make the decision that you need to move the needle in your business, then it's not going to help you grow as a person. And that's ultimately why we go to these things, right? Like, we want to grow, we want to evolve. So how do we make positive investments that serve us? Again, guys, this is totally different for everyone. But what I've noticed and what I've found is quite similar for a lot of people in the industry. And it's that it's not about spending the money on a mentor or an online course or an event that you really want to attend. It's about making the commitment to your own growth and development and actually following through with it, like actually doing the thing. Because it's the unknown, right? Like, we can't predict how we're going to maybe roll this new thing out if you've got a new venture or a new idea or something that you want to add into your business. Like, we are in this really crazy era at the moment where things are shifting so quickly. It's exciting, but it's still so scary. all at the same time. But the moment that you invest in yourself, you're actively choosing to make that your power move. Like you are choosing to make a strategic decision that sets you apart from the sea of travel business owners out there. And you're choosing to propel yourself forward toward achieving your wildest dreams and your ultimate success. And do you know what else? It's almost never about the actual cost of the thing, but it's the trust in ourselves to actually feel we are worth such an investment. Like, am I worthy enough? Because ultimately, that cash might be taking away from something else that is also equally or just as important. And in fact, you're hearing this from someone who spent the best part of $22,000 on professional development during the pandemic with zero income coming in as a travel agent and a single mum at that. You really can't afford not to invest in yourself. Sometimes when you have something more to lose, you have everything to gain. And any time that I've chosen to invest in myself, I have never been disappointed because I always know that I'm always going to deliver upon exactly what I set out to achieve, rather than waiting for someone else to provide me with that shotgun solution or that silver bullet strategy to help me. So let's dive in to some of the best things that investing in myself has personally given me, because I really feel like this is an important spotlight, because it's not until it's been modeled that you don't really know how it's going to look like for yourself. So for me personally, investing in myself has enhanced my brand vibe. I'm all about leading with passion. And I have a saying, which is being thrown around like wildfire at the moment. And it's, if it's not fun, I'm not doing it, which ultimately helps me in elevating my purpose, right? It elevates my brand, it aligns with my messaging, and it fosters those deeper connections within my community as well. Number two, it fuels my growth, meaning that every time that I invest in myself, either personally or professionally, it continues to feed my perpetual cycle of growth, which is such an incredible feeling because I know that it's only going to propel me to go exactly where I want in my business and in life. And it also fuels my enthusiasm to never give up on myself and my promises as well, and that I am worthy and that I deserve all of the good things. Number three, it's transformed me into a leader. In an industry that is in dire need of change, investing in myself has allowed me to be seen as that trailblazer, a thought leader, and a visionary for the industry when it comes to fresh new innovation, stepping outside of the box and helping others to do exactly the same thing. Number four, it's also given me access to opportunities and connections, like events like the Travel Trend Summit, which serves as gateways to a world of new opportunities, access to new knowledge, insights, and collaborations that I wouldn't have had before, you guys wouldn't have had before. And, like my success is only as good as the people that I surround myself with, right? So being able to completely create a, community around this, being able to have built that can deliver on exactly this and so much more, I would be very happy if my legacy, I'd be very happy to leave this legacy in my wake. So if you're sitting on the fence and you're not quite sure like what your power move is, what you're going to do next, I really want you to take a moment to get in front of the mirror and appreciate the biggest asset in your business. And guys, this is you, baby. You are the biggest asset inside of your business. And you so totally deserve to be investing in yourself because it's so much more than just a nuance when running a business. It's a 100% necessity for growth. And if at any time that you're feeling otherwise and you're maybe not sure or you want to bounce some ideas around, slide into my DMs. Let's hype each other up together and be the change that we want to see in the industry because it really, really does start with us. I hope that this podcast episode was super helpful for you. If you're enjoying tuning in, please consider subscribing and screenshotting your favorite episode and tagging me in your socials. Join our free Facebook community and head over to the Apple Podcasts app and leave me a 5-star rating and review. That would be so appreciated. If you have any questions, please leave them on the episode in Spotify too, so other listeners can be inspired by your insight. To those joining us on the Gold Coast for our Travel Trends Summit that's coming up real soon, you're in for a massive treat. Our guest speakers are absolutely next level, and we're all excited to do this again. We're so super pumped. And again, guys, this opportunity to attend events like these just don't exist very often. So don't let your resistance and your limiting beliefs stand in the way of you creating the dream business that you've always wanted. So if you want more information of the Travel Trend Summit, head over to stephaniemyers.academy/travel trend. Grab your tickets. It's strictly limited. We are en route to sell out. So grab your industry pals, get a seat, get a table, whatever you need to do to make the dream happen, get going, and we'll see you on the Gold Coast very soon. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, stay safe.